Hello everyone, welcome back to Oops through C++ class. Today we are discussing on control structures. So programs are written using three basic structures. They are sequence, repetition and selection. So sequence is a series of statements that execute one after the other. Whereas repetition is, we can otherwise call it as looping or iteration, which is used to repeat statements while certain conditions are met. Then selection is also known as branching. It is used to execute different statements depending on certain conditions. So altogether we call them as control structures or logic structures. The first one is sequence. So sequence structures are like it is direct the program to process the program instructions one after the other listed in the order, which are listed as per the order. So every C++ program must have at least one function called main function. When we can run a C++ program, the first statement executed will be at the beginning of the main function and the last statement at the end of the main function. Therefore, the main function is also known as driver function as it drives the program. So the von Neumann architecture of computers supports only sequential processing. So the normal flow of execution of statements is a high-level language program that is also in the sequential order. Each statement is executed in its order of occurrence in the program. So some problems often require that the normal flow of control be altered depending on the requirements. So in that case, C++ supports number of control structures to perform the processing. The statements can be of two things. One is simple statement and compound statement. So the instructions given to the computer to perform some action and it can form the smallest executable unit within a C++ program, and all these statements are terminates with a semicolon. So simple statement means it is a single statement. Compound statement means it is a group of statements that are separated from each other by a semicolon. This group of statements is also called a block of code that is enclosed within a pair of curly braces. The significance of the block is that the group of statements enclosed within the curly braces is treated as a single unit. Coming to selection, here it makes decision based on the condition and takes appropriate action. So if true means true state block of statements will be executed, false means the other block, else part block of statements will be executed. So the control will flow in either one direction, either true or false, but not both. Next, repetition. As we discussed earlier, it will repeat the block of statements again and again until the condition is true. Once it becomes false, then it exits the loop. So these are mostly used keywords exclusively for flow control purpose. The data types used for these purposes int, float, double and char. And the other keywords that are used for the flow of control is break, case, continue, default, do, else, for, go to, and so on. So this is for normal execution of the program. One after the other, the sequence of statements will be executed. So coming to flow control, in selection we have 5 types: if else, nested if, go to and switch. Whereas in repetition we have 3 categories, major categories: while, do while and for. Nesting can be done for either of these 3 types of looping. You can do nesting for while, do while, for, or combination of this. So let us see in detail about the conditional statements, that is decision making or branching statement. Our first thing is if statement. So it tests for a condition and the statements associated with if are executed. It can be one statement or block of statements. So those the conditions, the statements after the condition if statement are executed only when the condition is true. Otherwise the statements are not executed at all. So it will just ignore the condition once it fails. So here if is the keyword, an expression is the boolean expression within a set of parentheses, and the statements can be simple or compound statement. So if x equal to 100, Our output is displayed as x is 100. If at all other than 100 any value is given, this cout statement will never ever execute. If there are other statements other than this cout, those statements will continue to execute. If the condition fails, this cout will be ignored. This is the flow of if statement. If the condition is true, this true statements will execute. False means it will not enter to that block, it directly goes to the next block. So in C++, when we open the Turbo C++, we have to initiate new file can be opened and then a program can be written like this. The first line is about the comments, that is this program is to check whether a student is passed depending upon the marks entered. So IO stream is used for input output actions. Con IO is used so that the console input output while running the program the user can interact with the program. So whenever con IO is used, getch function has to be enclosed along with con IO. So void main clear screen is to have a clear screen while execution. Two values are obtained, that is int x and y. Now enter two integers. Those values are obtained from the user using our extraction operator, that is incin. And after that a condition is checked here if x greater than y. So for all if statements, all conditional statements, there is no semicolon or colon to be used. So if x greater than y, we should display the value, and only if x value is greater than y. So this is how this works. If that fails, nothing executes. No output will be displayed in this program. Next, coming to if else. So here also it tests for a condition. Statement 1 is executed when the condition is true. Otherwise, statement 2 is executed. So here also if is the keyword expression with the boolean expression, and else is another keyword, and the statements given here can be simple or compound statement. So if it checks for the condition, the same previous program we have enhanced here. If x equal to 100, if that is true, our output will be like x is 100. If not, if some other value is there, then else part will execute stating that x is not 100. So either one will be executed. That is what this is called as selection or branching. So in the previous case, we don't have else part, so nothing executes if the condition fails. Here we can clearly distinct that if true is, if the condition fails, this is the statements that has to be executed. That is false group of statements. If you check for a number, whether it is even or odd, the logic behind this is any number that is divisible by 2, and if you get the remainder as 0, then we say it is an even number. If not, it is not an even number. So based on that, we have declared a variable int num, and while running executing the program, the programmer can enter the value as 3 or 6 or whatever it is. That number will be divided by 2, and if the remainder is equal to 0, we say it is an even number. If the remainder is not equal to 0, then we can claim that number is an odd number. For example, 6 is entered and 6 mod 2 is 0. So we say number is even. Otherwise, if 7 is entered and 7 mod 2 equal to 1, so 1 is not equal to 0. So in that case, we say number is odd. So if we want more than single instruction is executed, we must group them in a block of statements using this curly braces. So as we had only one statement, their curly braces is optional. When we have more than one statement under if or else statement, then definitely it has to be enclosed within the curly braces. Next, coming to nested if statement. So one or more if statements embedded within the if statement are called nested if. So here if you see, already we know that if a condition is there, if it is true, statement 1 will execute, otherwise statement 2 will execute. But here you have one more if else which is also embedded within the if condition. So if condition 1 is true, it will again check for condition 2. If both condition 1 and condition 2 are true, then statement 1 will execute. Or if both are, if condition 1 is true, then condition 2 is false. In that case, statement 2 will execute. If both condition 1 and 2 are false, then statement 3 will execute. This is the order of flow of execution of this nested if statement. So let us see a program here for biggest of three numbers. We have taken three values. The logic is being explained here. So if A greater than C and A greater than B, if both both the conditions are true using logical and, then we say A is biggest. Otherwise, B greater than A and B greater than C will be evaluated. If that is true, B will be executed, remaining all ignored. If none of this is true, then obviously C will be printed as C is biggest. So if the condition fails, then the control shifts to the statement after corresponding else statement. Here one more program to check whether given number is positive, negative or 0. So after obtaining the value from the user, if number equal to 0, then we say the number is 0. Otherwise, one more if is there where we check whether the number is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, we say it is positive, otherwise we say it is negative. Now, for the first if statement, that is for the condition if num equal to 0, we have only one statement, cout number equal to 0. In the else statement, we have block of statement, that is compound statements, which are all enclosed within a curly braces. If, cout, else, cout, all these belong to this else part. Again, in that, if condition is true, then only one statement will execute or the else statement will execute. So the else part contains a compound statement. So this is how it works. If none of the condition is true, then by default the else statement will execute. If either of the condition is true, that respective statements will execute. Now next is goto. So goto is a label which is available in C++. This is also referred as jump statement. This can transfer the program control anywhere in the program, and the target destination of a goto statement is marked by a label. So both of these target label and goto must appear in the same function. So the syntax for that is goto and then the label. Next, switch statement. This is also referred as if-else if ladder. So both can be equally treated. So the if-else if ladder or switch case, what does it do? The different conditions are evaluated from the start, and when a condition is evaluated as true, the following statement are executed, and the rest of the statements will be skipped. So when all the conditions becomes false, then the final else or the default statement will be executed. Similarly for the switch. This is used when we have to select one option out of many alternatives. So it is a multi-branch statement that makes the control to jump one of the several statements based on the value of an integer variable or an expression. So here the keywords will be like, this is a multi-branch statement. Here the keywords will be like case. Case keyword will be used and followed by some expression. So after which we will have one expression. If that expression is true, that will be compared with all these cases, case label values. Whichever matches, that respective statements will be executed. If none of the cases matched, then there will be a keyword called default. That block of statement will execute. So this is the syntax, switch expression, then case constant one. Again you have group of statements. For every case, the break statement should be used. Break is a keyword and it is used to exit the loop, that is further processing. It will come out of the loop ignoring all the other cases. It will not evaluate the other cases when a particular case is matched with the switch expression. So in this case, we are passing one value. Suppose I have passed value as 2, then first I will check case 1. 1 will not match with x. So first case will be ignored. Again it will go to case 2. Now there is a match. So my output is x is 2. Suppose I have given 5 as input, then case 1, case 2 both will not be matching with my input. So by default, value of x is unknown will be displayed. So when none of the cases are matched, then default case will execute. So here one calculator program is there. After getting the operator, so the expression can be either a char value or a integer value. So whenever we go for char value, we should use this single quote to enclose the operators or character. So if plus symbol is given, I want to add two numbers. If asterisk symbol is given, I want to multiply the numbers. So basic arithmetic calculations are done. Suppose if I give modulo, because modulo is not defined in my cases, if I enter modulo, I will get output as wrong operator entered. So this is the functionality of switch case. Next, coming to important topic, loopings and loop and iterations. So this is repetitive execution, means a set of statements are executed again and again till the condition remains true, and if the condition is false, the statement next to those set of statements will be executed. So there are three types to implement here: while, do while and for. So we generally represent them as entry control loop and exit control loop. Two basic categories are here. So in entry control loop, first of all, the condition is checked, and if it is true, then body of the loop will be executed. Otherwise, we can exit from the loop when the condition becomes false. So entry control loop are also known as base loop. Example for them is while loop and for loop. Whereas exit control loop means first body is executed and then the condition is checked. If the condition is true, then again the body of the loop is executed. If the condition is false, then control will move out of the loop. So this is also called as derived loop. Example for exit control is do while. So these are the basic things, and one more we have nesting of loops. Nesting of loops is like we can nest either any loops. Mixed loops can be nested, or especially for loop specifically they can be nested. So with while statement, it may not be executed even once if the condition is false initially. It is executed till the condition remains true and the control comes out of the loop when the condition becomes false. So there must be some loop terminating condition inside the body of the loop to avoid infinite looping. So if the condition doesn't fail, it keeps on repeating, so which cannot be exited normally. So here while is the keyword, expression is the boolean expression. If while evaluates to true, it can be evaluated either to true or false. So if it is true, then the body of the statement will be executed. And that statements can be simple statement or compound statement. So this is sum of the digits of a number, a simple program. We are supposed to enter a value, that is enter the numbers will be the first statement in the output. Suppose we give 123. 123 not equal to 0 will be checked with the while statement. If that is true, then we need to find out the remainder of that value. So 123 mod 10 is 3. Next sum equal to, this is a as compound statement, shorthand notation of assignment statement. So sum plus equal to remainder means sum equal to sum plus remainder. So here our remainder is 3. Initial value of sum is 0. Whenever we go for cumulative addition, it is advised to initialize the value to 0 in order to avoid garbage value. So sum equal to sum plus remainder means we have to calculate like 0 equal to 0 plus 3, and that 3 will be stored in sum now. Next, n equal to n by 10. So 123 divided by 10 is 12. Now it will not come out of the loop, because since the loop expression is true, it will again go back to the beginning of the loop. So now the value of n is 12. 12 not equal to 0. The condition is true. So again here remainder equal to 12 mod 10, which is 2. Sum equal to sum plus remainder. Already we have 3 in sum. Now plus 2. So it is 5. Again next now the value of n is 12. So 12 equal to 12 by 10, which is 1. Now again it will go to the beginning of the loop. 1 not equal to 0. Condition is true. Next 1 mod 10. As we know that when smaller number is modulated with a larger number, our remainder is small number only. So it is 1. Already we have 5 in our sum. So 3 plus 2 plus now 1, which is 6. Next again the value of n is now 1. 1 equal to 1 by 10, which is 0. Again now the loop will start execute by checking the condition. So now 0 not equal to 0. Here the condition fails. So now it will come out of the loop. After coming out, the statement is cout. So the output will be like the sum of the digits of the number is sum. The value of sum is now 6. So 6 will be displayed. So 123 was our input out, and sum of the digits means if you add 123, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. So we got our answer. This is how the loop executes. So here enter the starting number. Suppose we gave 3, then 3 times that will be displayed. We have given n minus minus, which is a decrement loop. Whatever value we give, that will be decrementing until it reaches 0. So if you give 5, 5 times it will display the that statement. Next, coming to for loop. As we know that this is also an entry control loop. The loop control variable is assigned to some value. Then the condition is checked here. So it has 3 segments. If the condition is true, then the body of the for loop is executed. Then the arithmetic expression is evaluated. After evaluation, the condition is checked again. If it is true, then again the body of the for loop is executed and the arithmetic expression is checked again. The for loop is executed again and again till the condition remains true, and the flow will be like only one time the initialization happens at the beginning of the loop. Then condition will be checked every time you repeat the loop, and incrementation will be done after the execution of the body of the loop after checking the condition. So it will be like once initialization, then checking condition, then body of the loop will be executed, again increment or decrement. Then this will be repeated. This 4 parts will be repeated. In that, initialization expression happens only once at the beginning of the loop. Remaining 3 will be repeated for each iteration. So after executing the body of the statement, incrementation takes place. Here in this program, count value is initially 1 as we have initialized it to 1. Then count less than equal to 10. So from 1 to 10, once the condition is true, now it will come out and print count, which will be 1. Again, it will go back. Now the value will be 2, because after the execution of cout, count value will increment. So the value will be 2 now. Similarly, for 10 times it will be printing the values, followed by at the end of the loop this cout fire will be executed once. One more example is sum of the natural numbers. So when you give value as 5, first initially my I value is 1. 1 is less than equal to 5. So condition is true. Now here we are using pre-increment. So first it will increment and then execute the body of the loop. Anyhow, our answer will be till 1 to 5. So 1 to 5 values will be added. Sum of the digits. Sum of the first n natural numbers. Whatever the value of n may be, till then it will be cumulatively added. Next is do while. So this loop is also known as exit control loop. It is executed at least once in spite of the condition. So, it is executed till the condition remains true. and the control comes out of the loop when the condition becomes false. So some loop terminating condition should be there, otherwise it will work as an infinite loop. Here while is the keyword. An expression evaluates Boolean expression. It can be either true or false, and the statements can be simple or compound statement. So the difference here is we have to use semicolon at the end of the loop here. Whereas for and while statements we should not use the semicolon. Since do while is at the end of the loop, we are using semicolon here. This is the control flow. First the statements will execute, then finally it checks for the condition. Again it will go back and repeat. The same for some natural numbers program, but here without checking the condition, initially it will be executed once. Next, nesting of loops. So if one loop is nested within another loop, then we say it is nesting of loops. So in that case, if when the first for loop is initialized, then after checking the condition, second for loop takes place. With the second for loop, until that complete iteration is completed, that is until the condition becomes false, for the first iteration of first for loop, all the iterations of second for loop will take place. Again, after completion, this for the second iteration of first for loop, all the iterations of second for loop takes place. So this is for one for the value of 1, suppose we have given an end value as 3. For the value of 1 in first for loop, 3 times the second for loop executes. Again for the value of 2 in first for loop, 3 times the second for loop executes, and so on. Here we have given 20. So this is a pattern program. My objective here is first my I value is 1, I is less than equal to 20. Now I am incrementing I value. Then once the condition is true, second for loop executes. Here also my condition is true and it is less than equal to 20. So I am printing. The next thing what we are doing here is printing the star. So until this is true, this will be repeating 20 times. First time it will print. Then thereafter it will be decreased. So the pattern will appear like this. If you count, you can see 20, then we are gradually decrementing them. Next is our important thing, break statement. So these are jump statements. Actually, we have 3 jump statements, break, continue and go to statements. So break enables a program to skip over the part of the code. So break statement terminates the smallest enclosing while, do while or switch statement or a for loop. So the execution resumes at the statement immediately following the body of the terminated statement. So when break is encountered, it will exit the loop immediately and the remaining statements will continue to execute. So in this condition, in this program, our condition is like for n equal to 10, n greater than 0. Until the n value is greater than 0, which means until it reaches 0, we need to print the values. But we have given a condition here, if n equal to 5, then count down aborted break, which means instead of printing till 0, whenever it reaches 5, I want to stop there. I don't want any more output. So what happened for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and all, it executed. When it reached 5, the if statement is true, so the if block will execute. But inside if block we have given break statement, which means the loop is exited from there. Even that means the for loop, it is inside for loop. If is also inside for loop, so break is exiting that loop permanently and program exits. Next, continue statement. So it is another jump statement like break statement, but the continue statement is something different from break because instead of forcing termination, it forces the next iteration of the loop to take place, skipping any code in between. So the difference is with break statement, the loop, whenever break statement is encountered, the control exits the loop, whereas that is end of the loop, goes to the end of the loop. Whereas in the continue statement, when this statement is encountered, the control goes to the beginning of the loop. So the current iteration will be ignored. So the same program here, the difference is again it starts from 10 and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 everything. When n equal to 5 is given, there we have given break, so it came out of the loop. Whereas here when n equal to 5 is given, that 5 is not executed, that iteration is skipped. Again it went back to the beginning of the loop, so remaining 4, 3, 2, 1 continued. So this is difference between break and continue. If you want to ignore particular iteration, we can go for continue statement. If you want to stop with some condition, then break statement can be taken. Thank you.